Hey guys, welcome back to another Cultured Boys discussion. I'm Pepe and I'm joined by Dathan, and today we're talking about the new Netflix series, Devil May Cry. Hey. I think it's new anyway. It feels like it's just come out. Like it might be a little bit.
It is
a few months.
pretty new.
It came out this year. It came out this year regardless. But yeah, there's new Netflix series, new anime, and we're watching it. Well,
Yeah.
we've watched it.
Yeah.
How are you, Dathan?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Right. It's worth a disclaimer at the start of this as well, is that I am not familiar with Devil May Cry at all. I think the closest I've come to Devil May Cry stuff is in crossover games, i.e. Marvel vs. Capcom and Project Cross Zone.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've seen Dante in things, and Virgil in both things as well, actually, in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So that's as fun. But what about you? Have you?
I played some of the first one. I played most of the fourth one, and I played the remake that people hated because the Dante looked different.
Yeah. Nice. I remember that's the one that was like a DMC thing. I remember that they just
Yeah.
abbreviated it, didn't they? Yeah. Nice. Well, before we get any further into this, Nathan, do you want to give a rundown of what Devil May Cry is?
Yes. Animated series created by Adi Shankar, produced by Studio Mir, Adi Shankar Animation, and Capcom. Aired April 3rd, 2025 to present on Netflix, 8 episodes available as of recording. When a mysterious villain threatens to open the gates of hell, a devilishly handsome demon hunter could be the world's best hope for salvation. Thank you, IMDb.
All right, short and sweet. We love that. Right. Okay. Yeah. So as I said, 8 episodes as well. So there's roughly like what was it, like 4 hours of content in this? Which is
Yeah,
quite
it's
good.
a
Half-hour episodes each. Yeah.
yeah, roughly about half hour each, isn't it?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. Most I think there's only one which is 20 minutes. But we'll talk about that episode as well. That's like episode 6.
Mm,
But yeah. Did you watch all 8 episodes?
I did. I actually watched it twice.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Well, because first time I put it on, I was working, so I wasn't really paying attention. So I was like, okay, I got some more time, so let me actually pay attention to it. And yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it is really good. I think it's like one of those ones where it's like I finished it today as well, and I watched the last few episodes, and it's one of those ones where like it's like a good like you just put on, and it's like
Mm,
it's a fun has fun moments, has its good like serious moments as well. That's one thing about Devil May Cry as well, because I don't know anything about it, right?
hmm
So I'm going into this complete. I know bits about Dante and his character. I know that he's a little bit like he's a bit of a goofball at times.
Yeah.
Um, but like that's all I know. I don't know much else apart from he has his guns and his sword and he can turn into a demon every now and then. That is the only thing that I know about him. I don't know any about his history or whatever. Like I know like some of the broker stuff, but
From
that's like
what I understand or what I know of this story, this isn't following the games.
okay, yeah.
Like it's got details from the games, obviously, but like it's pretty much like an original story kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
But I also could be wrong because, like I said, I've played 1, 4, and the reboot,
Mm.
but like the earliest in the timeline I think we ever learn about anything from the games is Devil May Cry 2, but he's already been a demon hunter for a while, and I think he already knew he was the son of Sparda by that point. I'm not entirely sure on that one, but like from what I know, it gets the key points across.
No, that's one thing because, like, obviously, like I knew, like, that is it's pitched at the start where it's like, oh yeah, his mother and brother were killed by demons or whatever. And, like, he sat back and like hid away or whatever.
Mm.
And I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, Virgil's definitely still alive. I know he's alive.
Well, yeah, I
It's
mean anyone who knows anything like of the series knows Virgil's alive. Like,
yeah, so it's like all that kind of stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. Like, I know this. And then, but like that also features into like how the series ends as well. But we'll get into that eventually. But like going in completely like virtually blind anyway with it. I really enjoyed it. I don't know, like, how, like, obviously you've played 1 and 4.
Mm.
Like, so would you consider yourself like a Devil May Cry fan, or would you like say like casual fan, or like
I
how would you
would
say?
say a
How do you describe
very
yourself?
casual fan. I've barely scratched the surface of it. I think it's cool, um, but like typically the type of gameplay it has is a little beyond me because
Mhm.
it's hack and slash, but there are combos and stuff, and that's where my brain kind of turns off because I go for button mashing instead of like perfect combos that like extend so I can get that triple S combo rank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just like, thing died. I shot it. I slashed it. Is good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You need to do what you need to do, and then that's it. Move on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Like, but I thought this was a pretty good like adaptation. I wondered because they never said it. I wonder
Mhm.
if the guns are actually ebony and ivory or if it's just some generic guns for now.
I feel like it's generic guns for now because,
I was
like,
gonna
from
say
what I
because ebony
gathered,
and
and yeah,
ivory is like the one's silver and one's black.
I was thinking this as well because, like, the way he was just crushing his guns, be like, "Oh, these are done with," and just throw them away
Yeah.
randomly.
Uh,
He used to, like, so none of those really felt like they had like sentimental value
mm.
at all to him. So, like, I feel like maybe that's something that will come up in season 2.
Probably because, like, he had his sword, like, his iconic sword, you see
Yeah,
that, he was like, "Oh,
yeah,
okay, wicked." But he didn't yeah, it's just the way he was, like never said anything, he always uses these 2 guns, but at the same time, I'm like, "But is that ebony and ivory? I don't think so."
yeah. Because at one point, I think it's in the second episode. I think it's where obviously the government hires the mercenaries to come and
Mm,
kill him, or well, to get the pendant anyway. And he just like, oh, I think I've got one somewhere. And he just goes through a load of pizza boxes and then just finds one. So it's
yeah,
like
so they
it's
must just be
like,
generic then.
yeah, 100%. I feel like it's definitely a generic thing. But I feel like that there's room for that to come into it in season 2, or like
I
however
mean,
soon it comes in.
I love the cheeky unless if you know, you know kinda Easter eggs, like, they've been throwing those in,
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
said in episode 2. I didn't realize the first time, but they get captured, and then his friend Enzo, the broker, is like, even
Mhm.
you you hate it even more than the Raccoon City job, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, what a reference! It's not just
So-
because that's Resident Evil 2, it's because Devil May Cry was originally supposed to be Resident Evil 4,
Oh,
but
okay.
because it was so different, they spun it off into its own game. So
Right.
it's its own franchise, but
Okay.
it was originally supposed to be Resident Evil 4. So it's kind of like a massive, like, kind of nerd Easter egg because you're like, it's Resident Evil because Capcom, but then it's also like,
There's levels to it. Okay, yeah, because like as a basic fan, I just knew that as, oh, Capcom reference, cool, because like there is a handful of
oh
Capcom
yeah,
references in this series as well. Like there's like random Street Fighter playing at times, and then there's like
and
a
then
Mega Man
yeah,
like
Mega Man statue
car.
in
Yeah,
the truck, yeah. Man, I didn't
yeah, yeah.
notice that the first time because like again, I wasn't paying attention. So the second time I was like, "Yo, Mega Man! Oh my god!"
Yeah. So I think like because it was in that one episode, I think that like you said, might have been episode 2 or 3. That was when there was like back to back Capcom
Mm.
references, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, they've really got in on that bit. uh, but no, I mean, good to see. And then obviously the animation studio in this as well.
Mm.
Was it Adi Shankar? Is that right?
Yeah, Studio
Am I pronouncing
Mirror,
that right? Yeah.
Adi Shankar Animation,
Adisha.
Capcom.
Yeah, like so that studio is the same one that did the animation for the Castlevania series as well.
That makes sense. I mean, I do remember them saying Netflix like made a big deal with the announcements that it was like the same as Castlevania, but apparently I was also reading one of the screenwriters also
Mhm.
wrote for the Yasuke Netflix animated series.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay.
he wrote the screenplay for that as well, and I was like, that I can see it. I can kind of see it.
Yeah. There's a lot of like when you look into the work that's gone into this, there's a lot of stuff that is like, oh, okay, this person's work. Like this feels like a culmination project. Like they want to get the best people on this. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because like even when you look into like Adi Shankar as an animation studio, they did Legend of Korra as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like when you look more and more into their backlog, you're like, oh crap, it's this, and then it's this, and then it's this, and then you're like, okay, Okay, no, I vibe with this, all the stuff that's going on here. And like it really tells that the animation is like,
Oh,
yeah,
animation is sick, but
100%.
like they put in a lot because like even like Johnny Youngbush is Dante,
Hmm.
and you're like, bro,
Yeah.
that's Ichigo. That's Power. He's a
I
Power
knew.
Ranger.
Yeah. Okay.
Like Johnny
Okay.
Youngbush
Because
is like been around for so long, man.
there were certain voices which I heard in this, and I was like, that sounds familiar.
Batman's in this.
It's a really, huh?
The late
Who?
great Kevin Conroy is the vice president. Kevin Conroy, who
Oh,
voiced
right.
Batman in the games and the animated series for so long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This must
Yeah.
have been one of the last projects he worked on before he passed. But
Christ.
like, technically, Batman's in this.
Wow. Oh, that's mad.
I when I
Can
read that, I had to double check because I was like, wait, Kevin, as in Batman, like Kevin Conroy, the Kevin Conroy. I was like, on my second listen through, I was like, I can hear it. I can definitely hear it. But yeah, like crazy, right?
that is mad. But no, voice acting like really good in this as well. Like I think the levels that go into this anime, I think really like honestly, like I really enjoyed it like back-to-back episodes of
Mm.
it. And like again, like this is me just learning about the series as well. As what I meant as well as when I was asking you like what kind of fan you are of Devil May Cry. It's because like right now, as like speaking for you as a casual fan and me as someone that barely knows the series, I was wondering like if this is a more original story. I wonder how old that hardcore DMC fans are feeling
That would
about it.
be
You know what
quite
I mean?
interesting to find out. I
Yeah.
don't personally know any, so I can't go off and like ask
It's the
someone,
same,
but
yeah. Like no one, like I like the idea of Devil May Cry. Like even like in Marvel vs. Capcom, I saw Dante and I was like, this guy looks cool. He's a cool
yeah.
character. And like I like the comedy that he brings into like anything is like quite good. Like and even in like Project Cross Zone, he's quite a cool character. But like again, I don't know anything about them, and it's one of those games like because would it be fair to say that Devil May Cry is quite a similar thing to Bayonetta?
I would say Bayonetta is inspired by it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's because that's
It
one thing I knew about
yeah.
Bayonetta. It
And
was like
it's
kind of
an
like
one of
people was
those
like, oh,
like
likening to
hack and slash like combo active melee
yeah.
kind of games. So yeah, to say Bayonetta mechanically, yes, very very similar. Basically, I would say
I
inspired.
remember
Yeah.
I've tried Bayonetta and I couldn't get into it, right?
Hmm.
So I've always been of that mindset where like if I spend money on Devil May Cry and it's very similar to Bayonetta, I don't know if I want to put money down on it, and I don't like it. So I've just never really bitten the
See,
bullet. As
the
to
thing
say,
is
to
also
say.
like the Devil May Cry games are fucking hard. They're
Are
quite
they?
difficult.
Oh, okay,
First
yeah.
one was
All
really
right.
difficult. It
Yeah.
I don't remember when it swapped to like you can control the camera,
Mhm.
but like it the first one definitely is like fixed camera angles, very Resident Evil. So
Okay.
like you're doing these cool
Yeah.
combos, but sometimes it's like they move in a way you're like, I can't see where they've gone now. I just have to hope and believe that the targeting works or that is
Yeah,
dead. I don't know.
yeah.
It's I mean,
Yeah. But maybe one day I'll bite the bullet and see how it is like, but I just don't like feel like that's the only thing that stopped me from getting into Devil May Cry. I think it's the fact that I just don't know whether I will just be on board with it. It doesn't like I don't want to put down the money on a game which I like in this economy. I can't be
I
affording that
I
shit.
would say if you're not into Bayonetta, you probably won't.
Yeah.
Like if you're not into
Yeah.
the mechanics of it, then you're probably not gonna enjoy Devil May Cry much more.
This is a good way of me to enjoy the series and just not associate with the gameplay whatsoever.
Yeah, pretty much. Like if
Like,
you want to know the story, I'm sure
yeah.
the animated series will hit most of the major story beats. I mean, it already has. You learn he's well. I guess they never use the word, and I don't know if it's in the original series or if that was just in DMC the reboot. But like you learn he's a Nephilim. He's actually that might just be a reboot thing. Maybe I shouldn't say that. People get mad because they didn't like
No.
that line.
Yeah, they don't mention it at all in the series anyway. Like they don't
Well,
use the word
he's
anyway.
part demon, so he's the son of Sparta, you learn Sparda is the one demon that stood up against Mundus. Like he fought for humanity. I'm surprised Lady is in this because at least
Yeah.
at least from the first one, I don't remember dealing with Lady a whole lot. But I also played that when I was like 15, so I don't remember a whole
Hmm.
lot from that game.
See, that's the one thing because obviously you've referred to her as Lady a lot, and
That's
at
because
one
that's what
point I
she's
was
called
like,
literally in the games.
in
She's
the
just called
games,
Lady.
yeah.
Like, because again, like in this, you see through the eyes of Dante a lot, so he just calls her Lady. So I guess this series gives you a reason why he would just be calling her Lady. Because, yeah, I don't remember how much you actually deal with Lady in the first one. I didn't get very far. Again, I played it a long ass time ago because it's a PS2 game.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. I like you said, I only know like her called Lady from Dante saying it in the series, but obviously more of no, I didn't even know what her name was for like until the second to last episode. I was like, oh, here's this character. Like it's like you said, you don't like White Rabbit even. I was like, what's his character's name? I just know him as the rabbit character. And like Enzo's fine because they say Enzo quite a fair
yeah,
few times in the series. They don't really say many
they
like I
don't.
think they only really say like Agent Arkham or whatever, or like
Mm.
Lieutenant Arkham. That's what it is. They say Lieutenant Arkham quite a bit, and I think that was the closest I would have ever gotten to thinking,
I
what's
think
her
at
name
one
again?
I think she at one point she's like,
Yeah,
"My name's Mary," and he's like, "I'll call you lady."
yeah, yeah. That's in, like that's the final episode as well,
Yeah,
isn't it? Like,
but it wasn't until
like,
this that I even knew she
yeah,
had the name. I figured she did, but it's just like, "Hey, lady," and it's like, "Okay, she's called Lady."
that's it.
I don't
Yeah,
know. People got strange names sometimes, like, unusual names.
yeah. It feels like Dante as a character as well feels like a very like I'm gonna say is like a Shonen Jump protagonist is the best way I kind of
Yeah,
want to put it because he feels like he's that kind of character. That, hey, lady, it's like something like Luffy would do or Goku would do. You know what I mean? Just be like, I don't need to learn your name. I'm just gonna call you lady.
I mean, yeah. It's literally what Goku did do if you listen to our Daima
Yeah.
episode. Hey, Gorio,
Yeah.
Glorioda.
It is
Lady,
that
I
kind
have
of
a
thing.
name. Yeah, lady.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll stick to lady, yeah. But no, like everything's good at that. I think yeah, animation I think was just spot on. It was like especially with like the choreography, like how it's
Mm,
all like how it's all played out, animated is great. Like I think having it from two perspectives, from Dante's perspective and Mary's as well. I'm gonna call her Mary because I kind of know her as Mary. Like, I do apologize to anyone that's like, why is he calling her
Who's
that?
that? That's lady.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I'll but at this point, I'm probably gonna switch between Lady and Mary. At this point, I'm probably going between. I apologize, but like having it from
Lady
those
Mary
two.
Arkham.
God, no, I'm not gonna go that far. um, but like having it from those two perspectives definitely made the series move a lot like nicer as well than just seeing it from Dante's. I
Mm,
think if it was just from Dante's, I think I would have thought a bit like, oh, this is like dragging on a bit, or like I don't think I'd be as invested. But like having it like because Dante and Mary are two very different characters as well.
mm,
Like she comes like you get like, a lot of her backstory as well, like with like her dad and then all the stuff that goes down around there. And then obviously you get like bits and pieces of Dante's, but like you kind of don't know the whole story just yet. You kind of know bits and pieces, you know, oh yeah, like demons killed his brother and mother, and then like he ran hid, and but that's almost all that you know apart from certain
mm,
bits of like, "Oh, yeah, he did this," or like they say in passing conversation. Um, so, like, it's good to see those points, and White Rabbit as well, I thought, like again, I don't know if that's a character in the
I
games
don't
or not.
I don't remember a
Yeah.
character like that in the games. I'm not sure, but considering considering his backstory, I'm like, yeah, justified. That I would definitely
Yeah.
have a villain arc after that. Like,
Yeah, 100%. And this is why, because White Rabbit as a character, you just think, oh, it's just a villain, just a villain. And then it hits to episode 6, which is what I mentioned earlier, because that by far was my favorite episode. It's a
Mm,
very, it's done very different stylistically. So you got
yeah,
like you got this different art style in terms of animation as well, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm invested in this. And dialogue is very minimal in it, and
pretty
everything
much.
is
Almost, there's
told
almost like none.
in picture. Yeah, and like again, this is why like it's that whole episode is basically just like backstory. Basically, you get more backstory on Mary, and you get more backstory on White Rabbit, and you see like those two paths collide at the end of the episode. You see why White Rabbit is the way he is, and
Man,
geez, it's a fucking solid backstory. And like again, the culmination of the animation, the story, and like the way it's told, like it is by far out of all the episodes in the series, that was my favorite episode.
agreed. I mean, it's also crazy because when you're like, they didn't have to do that. He could have just
Nah.
been a generic random demon that's like, I hate the humans. That's it.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
they took it that extra level to like tie it all in. So like, it just makes it a shame that these 8 episodes of season one, because now you're like, ah, fuck, man, how are you gonna reveal all that in episode 6, and then two
Yeah.
episodes later, it's just like they leave you on this really big cliffhanger, and then you're just like,
Hmm.
now what? Well, now what? I
Yeah.
gotta know, man.
That's it. Now you gotta wait for the next. They don't even give you a date on it. It's just like, yep, cool. Series two will become like they've confirmed a series two. But that's about it. That's the only thing they've done. But like, there's so many different other layers of it as well. Like, the vice president. Like at the start, you kind of get this sense that he's doing what's best, but like you also like know that there's a lot of other stuff that's going
Ah,
down in there. You're
is it though? Because
like
he's like, even from the start, he's very like evangelical. He's like,
yeah, that's the one thing because like taking all the Lord stuff out of it, like all the like evangelical stuff, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna look past that because there's a little bit of like good and evil and everything. Like there's a little bit of evil and good, and there's a little bit of good and evil. You know what I mean? It's that kind
yeah.
of
If
mentality.
if you listen to the voiceover as well, though, you can kind of get a sense because like he's the vice president and he's
Yeah.
Batman. He's Kevin Conroy. He's got this deep voice, and you're like,
Yeah.
whoa. And then you hear the president, and the president, he sounds like this. He's a
I
high.
I was
You
listening
look at
to
that
that.
man, you would never imagine that voice. I tell you.
No, I was not expecting it at all, and I was like, "Why does he sound like a South Park character? Like,
He does.
like, why does he
I-
sound like that?" I admit that was, like we were saying, "Oh yeah, like see what voice actor does this, what voice actor does this," and that was the first reason why I went on IMDb when I started watching the series. I was like, who the fuck is that? And I couldn't even find who it was in the end because there was like a long list. I was like, I don't know who it is. But like, well, I was there, like, he's only in 2 episodes. It's like the first one and the last one. And I was like, who the fuck is this character? Who is his voice actor? Who's voicing this?
it's so funny, especially again after I did the. I don't know who did the voice for that either. But like, it's just the fact that they're like, I'm gonna juxtapose like position him against Kevin Conroy, who's Batman. Like,
Yeah. And my favorite thing about the president character is not just the voice, but it's also the little cowboy hat. Like it's not even like
yeah,
it's a big cowboy hat or anything. It's like a little tiny one. Like it's like he's got it,
just
like he
barely
just come from a
fits.
kid. He's came from a kid's birthday party or something. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this and put this on my own head. It's like it's so like random about that. But like obviously, yeah, you know the vice president. You get the clear thing that the vice president's in charge, and I like what the immediate thing is why why I was at the start. I was like, oh, well, I was unsure whether he was like a good guy or like whether he's doing justice, or whatever. Because I kind of gave similar vibes to Cecil in Invincible to me, because
Fair.
like the commander and like
Yeah.
giving instructions out, and I think it's because I came just recently out of Invincible
Oh, okay.
that
So
I
you
think
see it
that's
slightly. Okay, that makes
I
sense.
think that I think it's influenced it a bit more. Now that you've said that, I think it kind of makes sense that we've kind of come at a little bit of different perspective there. Um, but I kind of see it that way a little bit, and then obviously by the end it's like, okay, no, this no, it wasn't even by the end. It was probably episode 5, where he's like, "What the fuck do you mean that there's all these you're rescuing the
Yeah.
refugees? They're demons, aren't they? Fucking kill them!" And it's like, "Oh, okay, no, this guy is a dickhead. Okay, no, yeah, sound."
I mean, again,
Okay,
for me, it was like pretty instant. I was like, they're signing up with him. Especially,
yeah,
again, it's all the religious talk, like God's will and all of this. And then I'm like, they're like, it's a different realm, almost like a different
yeah,
dimension they come from. And he's like, it's hell. It's hell.
yeah,
Okay. We have to fight the devil. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay. They just told you these are like beings from a different dimension. Got nothing to do with what you know. And he's straight up just like,
Yeah.
no, heaven, hell, religion, don't care.
Yeah.
So I was
This
like,
like part of me
I
was
don't know.
like, no, like part of me was like when they're falling from the plane and stuff like that as well. I was like, maybe I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know, maybe give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe. And then it's like, no, okay, no, he's. And then it's after that that was like, hey, how's the mission going? And it's like, yeah, fucking saving some demons. And they're like, no, kill them all. I was like, okay,
I mean, the
dickhead.
closest he ever gets to being like Cecil is like when he's like, could you look what he's capable of? This half demon. Can you imagine if we had
Mm,
him on our side, if we use him? And I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
it's
that's to me, that's the closest he would have ever gotten.
It's the word "use" as well. It's the
Yeah.
look, I think that's the first indication. I was like, okay, look, it's gonna be evil in good in the because like right now, like at the start of the series, I'm very much looking at it like, okay, guy's a good guy, but then he used the word. That's when he said the word "use," which is again probably in the second episode. So I was like, okay, look, he's obviously got ulterior motives here,
Mm.
and then it just like kind of grew from there, basically. Oh, the soundtrack to this is like freaking great. Oh my god. You know what the thing
Oh
is, right?
man,
It's an amazing soundtrack because it is
it
just
is.
all like mid 2000s like metal, like new metal kind of rock kind of stuff
I
and it is
mean,
just like
like
it
it fits the vibe of Dante from the games. I don't
yes,
so much
absolutely.
think in the Dante presented in the animated series is quite the same.
No. Yeah.
I feel like this Dante might like a little bit more like I don't know. It feels it feels like he might this Dante from the animated series might like a little more like pop music
Do
than
you
what we
what makes you
got.
say
But
that? Is
like
it the bit where they got a little dance sequence with him doing his fucking dance
what
mat?
the
Is
DDR?
that
Yeah, I
what might
mean
make you yeah.
I don't know. This like I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just
no,
the
I'm with you.
portrayal
Yeah.
of Dante in the animated series. He's a little more like goofy
Yeah,
than in the
100%,
games. In the
yeah.
games, he's more like cocky in
I
a way,
think
like
it
very
definitely comes
confident.
across like yeah, what you said about like in the games kind of thing. Like it's very early on in the series you get that kind of character of Dante, like where he's
Mm,
just like fucking like doing air guitar randomly at times or whatever.
yeah.
And he's doing his DDR and he's just walking around with his like, oh, let me get my milkshake from my
Oh
local
yeah,
cafe, local thing.
from the
And it's
diner.
like all those, yeah, the diner. That was it. I was gonna say calf, but I was like, it's not a calf. It's ain't in Britain. um, but it's all those things that get ticked off and you're like, okay, I get him as a character, but you lose a lot of that stuff like later on in
Mm,
the like you still get a little bit of jokes here and there, but like again, that might change in the games as well. That might not be exclusive to the anime. That might be a thing that in the games it gets a little bit like less goofy and more serious. Because obviously the stakes are higher at that point. He's not going to be like if this guy was seeing thousands of people getting killed and he was like, anyway, let me do my air guitar.
well,
I'd
I
be no,
mean,
this guy like, oh, they killed all the refugees. Let me just do a little shred. It'd be like, oh, okay, this guy's incredibly unlikable.
you know what? He does get more. He gets more serious as the series goes on, mainly because you say air guitar, and I'm like, well, two is the earliest in the timeline from what I know, and he did
Yeah.
use a guitar as a weapon in two,
Yeah.
but in one he doesn't do that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's It's still cool to see like all the action stuff. Especially earlier on in the series, you see that kind of funny side of him come through, and he's a bit more playful at that point. He's using like ridiculous things to fight people, like the
Mm.
billiards thing as well, where he's tied Enzo to the chair, and then he's like off in the corner, like the guy's like, "Where is he? Where is he?" And
It's
he's
funny
just
because
taking them all out with like freaking snooker
uh,
balls.
I think Enzo also has it looks like light gun specifically from the PS1 as well. I think they're throwing in
Right.
extra references because like I think I had a PS1 light gun that looked like that. Like it was grey and it even had a little red button up the top.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I was like, that looks really familiar.
It could have been. It could genuinely be.
It might
I
genuinely
didn't
be an
notice
extra
that
reference.
one.
I have no idea, but I looked. I was like, huh, that's a that's an interesting detail if it is.
Yeah. Enzo's also one of those characters though that kind of grew on me a lot more as the series went on. Like at first I was like, oh, this guy's like a one and done character, and then as the series like he basically ends up being like Dante's best friend, like
Mm.
throughout the thing, even like very loosely at times, but like Dante is looking out for him basically. Like he's like, oh, like even in the final episode, oh, make sure you get cover or whatever, and then that happens at the end, and you're like, oh, okay.
I mean, we only ever hear it from Enzo himself, but like, it sounds like Enzo, from what he was saying at least, is like been looking out for Dante since he was quite young.
Yeah.
Whether he's did the proper job or not, which we let's face it, he's been shown to do some dodgy things anyway.
Yeah, like he's one of those characters that like kind of especially at the start, like which is why I was kind of like that's why he grows on me a little bit because he instantly betrays Dante. Like in the like second or first episode or wherever it is. And it's like one of those ones where like, okay, cool. He's obviously looking out for his own back. That's Enzo's character at the end of the day, to be honest.
Mm.
It checks out considering his profession and where he is in the criminal world. Um, but like obviously like he's still like there's still a lot to him, and obviously in that final episode, I think that's like where that heartbreaking thing is. Some part of me feels like was it just there to make Dante get mad at the end? I was like, part of me feels it might have been my part of me feels was it a bit shoehorned in, possibly. Um, but like I still enjoyed the premise of like the friendship between Dante and Enzo towards the end anyway. I still quite liked it. So I'm gonna ignore the thing at the back of my mind that says like feels
See,
shoehorned in, but
I
I'll
didn't
like
think
ignore that.
about it until you mentioned it, and now I'm thinking like, is it? I guess it did feel a little like, why did that happen? It didn't really
Yeah.
need to happen, but
Because at no point in
hmm,
the series does Enzo feel like a character that would be like, I need to do something, let me charge at this thing. At no point is he like that in the whole series. And then suddenly in the final episode, he does. And there's like, you could say he's been with Dante through the journey of this moment. So maybe he does get that way. There's ways of explaining it away, right? But there's also parts of it which feels like, you know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
just gonna take your
hmm.
lead, and I'm just gonna stop thinking about it.
Yeah, because I want it to be a nice moment. You know what I mean? Because I did like Enzo towards the end, but then there's also that bit where it's like, so I like let's just choose to ignore
Yep.
that. Let's both choose to ignore that
Yep.
bit.
Can
Um,
agree. Let's
I also want to
it
touch
didn't
on
happen.
yeah, I want to touch on like basically the lead up to the next series as well because it's such an the best thing is American Idiot playing
Yeah.
over the the fucking the last sequence of that thing where it's just like, oh, cool, we have access to Mackay now. Let's fucking go in
Yep.
there and bomb the shit out of it, which is the most American thing ever. And I was just like, God damn it. And this is why I say the soundtrack is great to it because not only is it just using all these like mid 2000s songs, which is obviously the time that Devil May Cry is out
Mm.
as well, like video game wise, so it kind of checks out. Um, But like what also makes me laugh is that all these songs that would have been out around Devil May Cry and what they've used in the soundtrack are also what people were using for songs in AMVs.
Yeah.
So a lot of like the Papa Roach and a lot of all these other songs that they feature, and I'm like, like this, I can see this being like on top of a Dragon Ball AMV right now, and I have seen Dragon Ball AMVs with all of these songs. Let's just play. So it's very much of that era where I was like, you know what, I'm kind of vibing because it feels like it feels. I don't know whether it was a choice or not. It kind of feels like it's serving that random AMV community, which might still be out there that remember all that kind of stuff.
Who knows, man?
Like it feels good regardless. Seeing the fight scenes with those songs over it, I think it's like, yeah, I like that. It scratches that little itch in my brain that I haven't had in about 20 years. So I'm like, yeah, sure.
Oh god, he's gonna start making AMVs.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Between editing this podcast and my day job, I do not have time to start editing AMV. Believe me. Imagine I might just quit my job and start making AMVs instead.
Oh lord, Devil May Cry. What
There's
have
a
you
reason
done?
why they don't exist. Yeah, every copyrights are fuck.
Yeah. From left, right, and center. I'm like,
Yeah, like there's a
music,
reason why
footage, yeah.
they there's a reason why they died in that moment in time.
Oh man, I think like the funniest thing about the soundtrack, and every time it gets me, is the
Mhm.
opening. The
Yes,
skip
yeah.
rolling. I'm just like, I get it. It's of the time period. It's sort of like Dante-esque, but it's just so funny to me every time it comes on because I'm just like, huh? Okay.
Yeah. It's like it is that kind of thing where you're seeing a lot of like again, because I guess this is edited by like a more Western studio as well.
Yeah,
It's
probably.
like yeah, it's because it's a Western studio, the animation as well. There's probably more of that influence coming through, but like you're seeing a lot more of those like Netflix exclusive animes using English openings as like, well, just for their openings and stuff like that. That's just a general thing. Because like like part of me like was like it's happened quite similarly as well where Cyberpunk Edge Runners,
Yes.
the anime that was on Netflix, that used, I know this because I'm a Franz Ferdinand fan. They used a Franz Ferdinand song as the opening for that.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they? Forgot
Yeah,
about
yeah. So that was yeah. So I that's one thing I already know that I haven't even seen Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and I was like, okay, I only know it because well, I'm a Franz Ferdinand fan, and it's suddenly like the anime community started jumping on the song "This Fire" because it was like at the time like the thing that
non
everyone's going
sequitur.
crazy over.
Well, you know, it was worth watching. By the way, just saying that to watch it last year is very
Ah,
good.
yeah.
This is the reason I
Okay,
ended
yeah.
up buying the game and playing it because it was amazing. Anyway,
I think yeah. Go.
no,
But no,
I
yeah,
just wanted to throw that in. Just as a quick recommendation. Like you should watch Headrunners. You as in Pepe and you as in the listener. Like Headrunners is
yeah,
good. I very much
yeah.
enjoyed it.
Thank you. Maybe I will get into it at some point. But yeah, no, like it's an interesting phenomenon we're seeing right now, and it's a very to me it's a very strange one. Like because I'm so used to seeing animes with like Japanese openings and stuff, and like you said to hear like because Castlevania didn't really have like an
No,
opening like
but
that either, did it? But it doesn't fit the tone. Devil May
it
Cry
doesn't.
fits that tone though.
Also,
Yeah.
but Castlevania has its own like actual music. Like the whole
Yes.
franchise has like iconic music, whereas like Devil May Cry, I don't know that Devil May Cry's actually had its own like proper like well-known theme. I've always known
Really?
Devil May
Okay.
Cry to just sort of have like guitar riffs and then
Yeah.
that's kind of it, like it's got like a rock soundtrack,
Mhm.
but like nothing with
Yeah.
lyrics, so like doesn't I don't remember it ever really using like licensed music or say anything. So like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why for Devil May Cry it's gone this direction, because it's not that it doesn't have iconic music, probably, I don't know, as a casual fan.
Mm.
But like
Yeah.
it's just from what I remember, it is really just like guitar and rock sounding music with no lyrics.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you're gonna do a series like this, I guess you would have to make a soundtrack.
Yeah. It checks out for this series. That's one thing, because realistically, imagine fucking using Limp Bizkit on fucking Castlevania. It would not fit
Hands
the
up,
tone
hands
whatsoever. But
down.
yeah. but but with Devil May Cry, it does fit that tone, and it fits that whole thing. It all checks out. So like maybe it is less of a, oh, it's interesting seeing this thing happening, but it just checks out. It works with this,
I mean,
so
it
it could
does.
just be,
Again, I'm
yeah.
I'm sitting here trying to remember, and all I remember from the like first game is like you hit start and it makes a noise, like, and then it's just Devil May Cry, and then the game starts. So I'm like, I don't think it had an actual like theme song.
Like open it, yeah, yeah. But yeah. um, but is there anything else you want to shout out about this, Nathan? Uh, is there anything
um,
that we feel like we haven't talked about?
no, I don't think so. Like, it's just it's fun. It's cool. If you enjoyed Castlevania, Yasuke, like a lot of these like similar style Netflix animated series that have come out recently, you will probably very much enjoy this.
100%. Yeah, like it's one of those ones where, like, yeah, sure, I might have said like there's like certain bits and pieces of it which I wasn't sure on, but that doesn't mean to say that I dislike the series at all. Like, it was a really enjoyable series. It's great in terms of animation. Like I said, the soundtrack works really well with it.
Mm.
Story's great with it. Episode 6 in particular. If I was to recommend this anyway, I'd just be like, just watch episode 6, even if you're not like that invested in the series. Just fucking watch episode
Funny
6. It's a
enough,
work
you
of art in my.
actually don't really need context for that episode
You
either.
don't.
You can watch that isolated episode
Yeah.
because it's
If
backstory for
anything,
two
yeah.
characters.
Like, it probably works better in terms of storytelling to watch it in the order, but it also works if you watched episode 6 and then went into the series. It still
Yeah,
checks out, but it just probably doesn't tell it as good. It's like you're just sitting at that point the whole time knowing that White Rabbit is actually quite a good
yeah.
guy. Not a good guy, but like has his reasons, and he has a backstory.
I mean, I
Um,
think now you said it, like I suppose if you watched episode 6, again, not recommended, just watch it from 1 to 8 in order. But like if you did, you could watch episode 6 and then go into the series, and then you'd have more context for Lady and White Rabbit before anything happens,
yeah,
and then the rest of it kind of just plays out.
yeah. And a
Interesting.
20-minute episode as well, a shorter episode. That works really well, and I think anyone could. I think even if you weren't like sort of invested in video games or anime or anything like that, just watching that as like a piece of animation,
Oh yeah,
I think is just really
it's beautiful.
just like the way it works. I think anyone could get into that. Like, I'd say anyone could. So
Yeah.
like yeah.
I think I think the only problem watching it as an isolated thing, if you wanted to watch the Devil May Cry series, is you'd be really confused and be like, "Where the fuck's Dante? He's
Yeah,
not in the
yeah,
first.
okay, yeah,
What the fuck?"
yeah, yeah. That would be, yeah. As the movie Cry find, it might be a bit different, but re- no, honestly, yeah. I think both of us would recommend this series
Mm,
easily, no doubt. And I'm really excited to see how season 2 goes as well, especially with how this is left off. So
right.
definitely,
Wherever, whenever that comes out, like I'm
yeah.
hype.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to season 2. But on that note, guys, we'll end it here. Thank you for listening. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button for future Culture Boys videos. Check the links in our description. We have all our podcast platforms there. And we'll see you next time for another Culture Boys episode. Bye bye.
Bye.